So I'm still here, all about the green flags and friendships, right? And Ash is here with me. So I talked about a friend who is kind, who expresses empathy when you need it, a friend who is a cheerleader, who's a support system, and a friend who listens when you talk, not just them waiting for you to finish ranting and they're like, "Are you done?" Uh-uh. A friend who actually listens and put themselves in your shoes. A friend who can correct you, who can call you out when you've messed up. And another one is a friend who feeds you. Yes, who gives you food. So Ash, I like to know, yeah, when you meet someone for the first time, you know how people say first impression matters a lot. What are some of those signs you look out for that tells you, oh, this person is going to be a good friend, or I could build a relationship with this person. I'm talking about platonic friendship now. What are some of the signs?
Well, for me, it would take a little bit more. Maybe it's because in some way I'm kind of critical with my calculations and my conclusions as well.
Okay.
Because I know that there are loads of times when people say things that they don't really mean. Maybe they're just excited and then they
In the
begin to,
moment.
yeah, and they begin to say things. But there are times when you meet a person and you just have kindred spirit with them. You guys align in many ways. The energy is intact, is on
Like you
point.
guys just vibe, you just click.
Yeah, yeah,
And it feels like you've known this person all your life.
yes, pretty much. But besides that, some of the things that a person would do over time that would make me really begin to value them is one, how you see other people, right? And by other people, I mean people who are weaker and the have nots. The priority that you give to people who are in quotes weaker than you are and those who have less than you are. The priority that you give to them, like recognizing that the weakest people amongst us should be the strongest. If you're that sort of person, it makes me want to have a relationship with you. I'll give you an instance. Let's say you're the kind of person who, when you go to the bank and there's a long queue and you find there's a woman with two kids, you want her
Or
to
an
go first.
older person.
You know, that shows me that you actively think about the weaker people amongst us.
That's empathy.
Yeah.
So that's a green flag for you as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Then there is you also recognizing that my boundaries should be determined by responsibility more than feelings, right? So don't expect me to give you the keys to my house because I feel cool with you. You have
Boundaries.
to earn it. You have to be responsible enough for me to give you my keys. Some people think, we are cool now. Why can't you do that for me?
And
No,
or
no,
maybe
no.
just show up at your doorstep.
No, no, that's a bit too much, right? You should be responsible enough, before you can begin to have access like that. Because for me, I think that friendships should operate around the concentric circle. You would have your outer circle friends. That's why when you get to meet people, first time they can come, you go and meet them outside. You just outside.
Sit
Next
out.
time, next time they come, maybe based on the energy and the connection that you're finding with them,
Yeah.
they now come inside. Then from there, you can now tell them, hey, there's food in the kitchen. Go and help yourself.
So it's in stages. It
Yes,
doesn't just happen all
yes,
at
yes.
once.
And this happens based on how responsible they are, not based on how I feel about you, right? Because I've understood that feelings are very fickle. And there's a difference between how I feel about you and how you make me feel, right?
True,
I can
true.
feel really good about you, but you make me feel bad, right? So understanding that balance is critical for me in deciding who I'm going to be in a relationship with. Then how you value me matters as well. The things you say about me. And by value, I don't mean that you're constantly celebrating all the things I do. I mean that you also have the presence of mind, like you said, to criticize some of my actions in a nice way. To say that, oh, actually this thing I think you could do it differently.
Okay.
You know, I think that this wasn't so right. Some people they just want cheerleaders more than they want forever friends. That's how somebody put it. That they are your forever people. They are your cheerleaders. Your cheerleaders are the people who celebrate you the most.
Okay.
Everything you do, go on, girl.
They
Go
just
get them.
okay it without criticizing it, without scrutiny or anything.
But for your forever friends, they would celebrate you, but they will also call you out.
And they're not scared of losing you
of
because
losing
they
you.
know that if you're a
Yes,
good friend, you should take that correction and see
true.
that they're doing it from a place of love.
True. Whatever they are saying to you is from an honest place. They are not trying to put you down. They're just basically telling you what they've observed that, is not so cool. For those kind of people, that's also a green flag for me. Then one that is huge for me with people as well is I love people who are not chasing validation from other people. They're authentic. They're clear about who they are. They're not trying to impress anybody at such, you know, because this is what we have today more than anything else.
In a social
People who are
media
looking for
era,
5,000 likes on Facebook. And then you forget that the fact that people like you on Facebook
they don't
doesn't
like
mean
you in
that they
real
like
life.
you.
They don't like you in real life.
So when I meet a person who is just authentic, who is not trying to impress, who is just being a human being, I have deep value for those kind of people. That's a
Awesome.
green flag as well.
Awesome. So let's go back to boundaries. I mean, that's one issue that I've noticed over time that can either make friendship stronger or end the friendship.
Yeah.
Why do you think people find it really hard to respect boundaries, especially when they are not very comfortable? Like you said, you giving access to this person is not based on how you feel, but because you feel they're responsible enough.
Yeah.
But when it comes to them respecting your boundaries, you say, I don't like this, don't do it. And they're like, I'm just joking. And it happens one too many times. How do you deal with that? Because to them, they don't see it as something of a big deal. You shouldn't get angry. I mean, I've heard people say, why are you getting angry over this? You can't
Yeah.
tell me how to react.
Yeah.
I mean, you should respect me enough to respect what I like and what I don't like.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times is actually our fault because, like I said, we put those boundaries based on how we feel more than responsibility. So if I push my boundaries too early, right? Let's say that my relationship with a person is at the stage where they don't have to come to my house, but I already let them in. If they begin to flout some of the things that I hold dear in my house, it's not their fault. It's actually my fault.
You granted them access.
Exactly. So there are lots of times when what is happening in your relationship based on boundaries you're responsible for. It's not that you let them in too early. So now they're like, it's like you're going out with this guy. He likes to drink, he likes to smoke. Then suddenly he's closer and then he lights his cigarette and then you're complaining. He's like,
But you were okay with it
I
from the
was doing this
onset.
thing before. How come? So we did not wait to find that they are responsible before we set the boundaries. We just felt like we were cool with them and so they
You
could
like
come
this
in.
person, you can vibe with the person, the
Exactly.
connection is strong
After they are now in your space,
and very
you now
important.
start expecting them
You
to
think
respect
you think they have
boundaries.
sense because
That's the thing.
sense is not. It's a rare commodity.
That's the
If
thing.
I'm to put it that way, it's very rare.
That's the thing.
Not so many people have. I mean, common sense. It's not
It's not
rocket
common.
science. It's not common.
It's not common. It can be rocket science
I
sometimes.
mean, my friend would say that one is a working mistake. He's fine, but he does not. He does not have sense.
It's not so common. And I feel like we are to blame. A lot of times what I personally like to do is I like to look inwards. More than I want to blame people for the things that is going on in my life. I want to look inwards first. How much room did I allow you? There was
How
a
much
time
fault do I share in this situation?
Yeah, there was a time somebody said something to me that I felt was not cool, and I felt this person really didn't know me, you know. But I didn't feel bad about what they said. I felt bad about the way I had managed myself around them, that gave them the temerity to even be able to say that kind of thing, because there are lots of people that, man, anyhow way they talk, when you're in their space, you check yourself,
Yeah.
right? So it's more about the other person. It's more about you than it's about the other person. How do you manage yourself? How do you conduct yourself? You know, when did you decide to set the boundaries? Was it at the points that you felt good about them, or at the points where you saw them actually show responsibility? You know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Ashley.
Thank you.
So over
Thank
to
you.
you. We'd like you to tell us some of the signs you look out for, when meeting someone for the very first time. What are those go-to signs? Tell me in the comment down below.